Jock stepped into the cold cargo bay of his old trade ship, Rust Sparrow. The air smelled like metal, fuel, and something else, something alive. He moved slowly between stacked crates, looking for the new delivery he had picked up from the outlaw market. One of the crates at the back was different. It was sealed with red bands and had no shipping code. Just a warning in alien script. Danger. Do not open. That only made Jocks more curious. He cut the seal and pulled the crate lid open. Inside, he saw her. A girl. An alien girl. She was curled up, arms around her knees, and metal chains locked her ankles and wrists. Her skin was a soft shade of blue, glowing slightly in the dark. Her hair was tangled, and her lips trembled. But her eyes golden, glowing, locked onto his face the moment he looked inside. She didn't scream. She didn't beg for freedom. She said only one thing, in a voice that was half broken, half fearful. "Sell me to a human, please." Jocks blinked. He wasn't sure he had heard her right. "What?" The girl looked down. Her hands were shaking. "Sell me. I'll cook, clean, obey. Just don't send me back. Don't send me to her." Her voice cracked on the last word. Her body trembled harder now. Not from cold, but from fear. Jocks climbed up and checked her chains. Real iron, no locks. Just welded shut. Someone had no plans of unlocking her. "Who did this to you?" he asked. She looked away. "What's your name?" "Nyari." "Nyari. Who chained you?" "My sister." That made Jocks freeze. Sisters didn't do this. Families didn't lock their own in cages. He had seen slavers, raiders, pirates, but family. He reached into his belt and pulled out a cutter. "Hold still." She flinched and covered her face. "I'm not going to hurt you." It took him 10 minutes to cut the chains. Her wrists were bruised and bleeding. When the metal dropped, she didn't run. She just sat there, hugging her knees tighter. Jocks offered her a blanket. She took it like she'd never touched anything soft before. "Why do you want to be sold to a human?" he asked. She didn't speak for a long moment. Then she whispered, "Because humans are kind, they don't break you when you cry. My sister says humans are weak, but I saw one once. He helped a dying slave girl. He didn't even ask for reward." Jocks didn't say anything. He wasn't that kind of man. He was a trader. He sold things for money. But now he had something he couldn't sell. A girl who begged to be sold. Not for greed, but for escape. He tapped his console, checking the manifest. This crate was not supposed to be here. Someone had swapped it. Or smuggled her on board without him knowing. Then a red alert blinked. Incoming transmission. Unknown source. He opened the message. Elegant voice filled the cargo bay. "To the captain of the Rust Sparrow. You are holding my property. Release her immediately or be marked as enemy of House Cyrexa." Nyari went pale. Her breath stopped. "Is that her?" Jocks asked. Nyari nodded. "My sister." The screen flashed, showing a tall, alien woman with silver hair and cold blue eyes. Her uniform was royal. Her face calm, but her voice was sharp as a knife. "You have 30 minutes. Will not warn again." The screen went dark. Nyari looked up at Jocks. "Please, don't give me back. She make me forget myself again. She has ways." Jocks looked at her, at the scars on her back. The fear in her voice. He had sold many things in his life, but for the first time, he realized some things shouldn't be bought or sold at all. He stood up, locked the cargo doors, and said, "You're not going anywhere." Not to her. Nyari's eyes widened. "Then, you'll keep me." "Oh." Jocks didn't smile. He just loaded his blaster and whispered, "I'll protect you." Outside the ship, the royal vessel had already begun its descent. The hunt had begun. Jocks locked the cockpit doors and stared at the screen. His hands hovered near the ship's control panel, but he didn't press anything yet. The message from Cyrexa still echoed in his ears. You are holding my property. Release her immediately, or be marked as enemy of House Cyrexa. Behind him, Yari sat quietly in the corner of the room, the blanket still wrapped around her. Her eyes were open wide, staring at the floor. She wasn't crying. She looked like she didn't remember how. Jox checked the ship's scanners. A royal vessel had appeared twice the size of his. No weapons were active. Not yet. He leaned back. She didn't come to talk. Nyari didn't respond. She was frozen. Is she really your sister? He asked. Nyari nodded slowly. We were born from the same gene womb. She was first. I was the leftover. Jox didn't know what that meant. Alien royal families had strange customs, and this one felt darker than usual. She used to smile at me, Nyari whispered. Before I turned 12, that's when she took me to the lab. Jox felt his stomach twist. What lab? Nyari hugged the blanket tighter. She wanted a key, a living one. So they changed my blood, my voice, my brain. I was supposed to unlock old alien tech buried on her planet. But something went wrong. I started dreaming. Of myself. She looked up and her golden eyes met his. That's when she said I was broken. That's when the punishments began. The words felt sharp, like knives wrapped in soft cloth. Axe. Didn't know how to answer. Suddenly, the screen lit up again. This time, it wasn't a message. It was live. Cyrexa stood tall, calm, dressed in white and silver armor. Her eyes glowed with quiet power. Captain Jox, this is your last chance. Return the subject. I'll pay you 5,000 credits. Enough to upgrade your whole ship. Jox stared at her face. She's not a subject. She's a person. She's mine, Cyrexa said calmly. She's a genetic product of my bloodline that gives me full rights under royal code. Don't play hero, human. Your kind dies easy. Jox didn't flinch. I'm not selling her. For the first time, Cyrexa smiled, but there was no kindness in it. Very well. The screen went dark again. Neri's body shook. She never gives second warnings. Jox stood up. Then we leave now. He ran to the controls and began lifting the ship. The moment he hit the thrusters, the radar blinked red. Lock-on detected. Jox cursed under his breath. They've got a hold trap on us. Outside, the royal ship had extended a glowing blue net-a-gravity tether. It clung to the rust sparrow like invisible chains, stopping it from escaping. Can you break it? Nyari asked. I can try, Jox replied. But I need time. Just then, the lights flickered. Someone was trying to shut down his ship's systems. A silent hack. Damn it, she's inside the network. Nyari stood up, panic in her voice. She's using the bond. My blood is still linked to her systems. What? She can see through my eyes, hear through my voice. Unless... She pulled a small silver chip from under her collar. This is the tether key. If I break it, the link ends, but I might lose my voice. Or worse. Jox shook his head. No. We find another way. Niar stepped closer. You saved me from the chains. Let me do this now. Before he could stop her, she crushed the chip in her hand. A sudden pulse of energy surged through the ship. The lights went white for a second, then dimmed back to normal. Outside, the gravity net dropped. Jox looked at the controls. They were free. Nyari fell to her knees, coughing. Her skin flickered like static. Are you okay? She opened her mouth, but no words came out. She touched her throat. Her voice was gone. Jox stared at her, heart pounding. She had saved them. And now, she couldn't even say her own name. He knelt beside her. You're safe now. I promise you. But in the distance, the royal ship turned, no longer blocking them. Instead, it started to follow. Jox carried Nyari to the small medical room on his ship. Her body felt light, almost too light, like she had been starving for weeks. When he placed her on the bed, she curled up again, holding her throat with shaking fingers. She tried to speak, but nothing came out, only a dry breath. "It's okay," Jock said softly. "Your voice will come back." Nyari shook her head. She didn't believe it. Her eyes said everything. Jock's checked her pulse. Fast. Too fast. Her skin flickered like a broken light each time her heart beat. Something in her blood was unstable. When he tried to scan her with the medical tool, the screen glitched. Error. Unknown genetic code. Jox frowned. He tried again. Error. Signal interference. Nyari reached out and touched the scanner, and suddenly the device sparked and shut down completely. Jox stepped back. "It's reacting to you." She nodded slowly. Her fingers trembled. That's when he noticed thin lines under her skin. Glowing blue lines like tiny circuits, pulsing slowly. They moved up her arms, then faded into her neck. "What did they do to you?" he whispered. Nyari hesitated, then pointed at her forehead. Jox gently touched her skin there. It was warm and humming. Like a quiet machine, he realized something horrible. She wasn't only modified, she was rewritten. Nyari tapped her fingers together, trying to communicate. She pointed to the side, to a metal panel on the wall. Jox opened it. Inside was a small storage box. Nyari shook her head violently, signaling no. She pointed again, more urgently, at the bottom of the panel. Jox pulled the inner plate aside and found a hidden data chip, teeny, heavy, and marked with the royal crest. He understood. "She hid this," he said aloud. Nyari nodded quickly. Jox inserted the chip into a portable screen. A hologram opened. It wasn't a message. It was medical files. Dozens of files. All with Nyari's name. All marked prototype key subject. And next to her name, Cyrex's signature. Jox scrolled through the files. His jaw tightened. His chest burned with anger. Neuralink chain connects her mind to Cyrex's ship. Pain compliance programs strengthens obedience behavior. Voice, command lock full silence after disobedience. He looked at Nyari. She looked away, ashamed. "Nyari? She didn't just hurt you." He paused, struggling to say the next words. "She designed you." Nyari's shoulders shook. She hugged herself tightly, as if afraid she would break apart. He sat beside her. "Why did you run?" Nyari closed her eyes. After a moment, she pointed at the screen, at one file. Termination order. Jox opened it. Subject Nyari shows independent emotional formation. Erase and restart genetic imprint. Prepare replacement. Jox felt cold. She wanted to wipe your mind. Replace you with a new version. Nyari nodded slowly. Tears rolled down her cheeks silently. She couldn't even cry out loud. Before he could say anything, the ship alarm blared. Warning, unknown vessel approaching. Jox rushed to the cockpit. The royal ship was gone. Something smaller was closing in, a scout drone. Fast, sharp, armed. He cursed. She sent hunters instead. The drone fired a warning shot, burning past the ship's wing. Jox took the controls and swerved. The drone fired again, this time hitting the side. Sparks flew. The ship shook violently. Nyari stumbled into the cockpit, holding onto the doorframe. Her eyes glowed bright gold. She looked at the drone, then at the ship controls. She pointed at Jox's seat. "You want to help?" he asked. She nodded sharply. Jox stood up and let her sit. She placed her glowing hands on the control screen. The whole panel reacted, light shifting, patterns forming. The ship hummed louder. Nyari closed her eyes. Suddenly, the ship moved fast. Faster than Jox had ever flown it. It twisted under the drone's fire, sliding between shots, moving like it already knew the next attack. "Are you connected to the ship?" Jox asked. Nyari nodded, but her face tightened. It hurt her. The drone fired a heavy blast. Nyari gasped, but the ship dodged perfectly, as if her body guided it. Her hands shook harder now. Her skin flickered again. Jox realized she was using the same genetic tech Cyrexa, forced into her, turning pain into control. "Stop," he said. "You'll hurt yourself." Nyari didn't stop. She pushed her hands harder on the controls. The ship shot forward, spun around the drone, and fired a shock pulse at point-blank range. The drone exploded in a bright flash. Silence. Nyari collapsed forward. Jox grabbed her just as she fell from the seat. Her skin flickered weakly. Her body felt ice cold. Jox held her tightly. "Nyari, stay with me." Her golden eyes opened halfway. She touched his chest with a shaking hand, as if trying to say something. Then her body went limp. Jox's heart dropped. Look outside the window. More red lights appeared in the distance. More hunters. And Nyari wasn't moving. The ship was shaking again. Jox slammed the cockpit door shut and locked it. He placed Nyari carefully on the chair beside him. Her body was still, her breath shallow, her skin cold. But she was alive, barely. "Hold on," he whispered. "I'll get us out of here." Outside, 5 red dots lit up on the radar. Hunters, not drones this time. Full ships. Fast, silent, armed to the teeth. They weren't trying to capture. They were trying to erase. Jox flipped every power switch on the control board. Shields up. Engines hot. He turned the Rust Sparrow away from the main route and dropped the ship into the black canyons of space. Thick asteroid fields loomed ahead. Dangerous. Narrow, but better than facing 5 death machines. As he flew through the rocky maze, he remembered something Nyari had said. "She'll make me forget myself again." And now he understood. These hunters weren't just chasing her. They were chasing proof that she existed. He looked at her again. Her eyes fluttered open just a little. She saw the red lights on the screen. Her lips moved silently. He knew what she was trying to ask. "How many?" "Too many," he muttered. The ship jerked left as a plasma bolt shot past the hull. Another blast exploded behind them, shaking the cargo bay. Shields at 40%. The ship's system warned. Quay gritted his teeth and spun the wheel hard, dodging between 2 spinning rocks. The hunters followed like shadows. No fear, no hesitation. He hit the emergency comms button. "This is cargo vessel Rust Sparrow under attack by Royal-class hunters. Requesting aid. Anyone." Only static replied. Another bolt hit the ship's tail. Alarms screamed. Then Nyari reached out. Weak, barely moving. She pressed her hand to the panel again. "Not again," Jox said. "You'll burn yourself," but her eyes opened fully. They were glowing again. Gold fire. Nyari placed both hands on the control panel and closed her eyes. The ship shuddered, then responded. Faster than Jox could fly it. The engines pulsed blue. The Rust Sparrow shot forward, dodging rocks like water between fingers. The hunters gave chase, but their path was wider, slower. Nyari opened her mouth. No words. Just a soft sound, like a hum. The ship understood. Jox stared at the controls. "You're not flying this. You're guiding it, aren't you?" She didn't nod. She didn't have to. The ship moved with her breath, but her skin was flickering again, veins glowing. Face pale. "She's burning herself to protect me," he thought. A massive asteroid appeared ahead. Impossible to pass through. Jox reached for the brakes, but the ship dove downward, straight into a crack between the rocks, spinning sideways just in time. The hunter ships followed, but one clipped a rock. Boom. One down. The other spread out, adjusting. "Only for now," Jox said. "That's still too many." He looked at Nyari. Her nose was bleeding now. Her hands shook. "No more," he said. He turned off the link. The ship slowed. She gasped and dropped to the floor. Jocks picked her up. "You've done enough." He ran back to the engine room. Time for his plan B, an old trick from his pirate days. He opened the engine hatch and pulled out a crate labeled flash dust. Explosive powder, illegal, very bright. He shoved a capsule into the rear launcher and angled the ship toward a sharp turn. He hit the switch. Foom! A massive burst of light and heat exploded behind the ship, blinding, wild. The hunters were caught mid-chase. One crashed into debris. Another lost radar lock. Only 2 remained. The Rust Sparrow shot into a dark tunnel of space between asteroid belts. Hidden now. Quiet. Safe. For the moment, Jocks returned to Niari. She was barely awake. He held her hand. "You saved me again," he said. "But you're hurting yourself." Niari blinked slowly. Her lips moved again. She pointed at the chip reader, the one she gave him earlier. Jocks loaded it again. This time, a new file appeared. One message, one line. From her, from before she ran. "If I don't make it, and someone finds this, tell them I wasn't a mistake." Jocks closed his eyes. "No," he said. "You're not." He sat beside her and held her hand until her breathing evened out. Outside, the last 2 hunters still searched the rocks, but deep in the shadows, Jocks was already planning his next move. The planet below had no name. Just a code on Jocks's screen. X4RZ Shadow Site. No one lived there, no records. No trading posts. But Niari had pointed to it twice when she briefly woke up. Her hand trembled, but her eyes glowed gold. Focused. That meant something was there, something her sister didn't want anyone to find. Jocks landed the Rust Sparrow on the dark side of the rocky surface. The sky was black, filled with clouds of thick gas. Everything felt cold even inside the suit. He carried Niari in his arms. She was quiet, her body light and weak. But when they stepped onto the dusty ground, her fingers moved. She pointed forward, toward a cliff wall. There was no door, no gate, just rock, until Jocks touched it. The moment his fingers touched the stone, it opened a quiet ripple of light, and then a soft hiss as a hidden passage revealed itself. "Genetic lock," Jocks whispered. "It opens only for her." He stepped inside. The passage was silent and long. The air smelled like metal and something older, something dead. At the end of the tunnel was a door round, silver and pulsing slowly. Niari lifted her hand. The door opened. Inside was a room, not large, not small, but filled with things that didn't belong to any time. Cryotanks lined the walls filled with motionless bodies. Girls, all with similar features to Niari. Some older, some younger. All frozen in place. Jocks's stomach twisted. What is this? Niari stood now, slowly walking forward with weak steps. She stopped in front of one of the tanks, her hand pressed against the glass. Her reflection stared back at her. An exact copy. Jocks read the tag. Subject N7 failed memory imprint, failed. "Are these your sisters?" he asked quietly. Niari shook her head. "Then, what are they?" She reached for the side of the tank and opened a data panel. The file blinked to life. Clone variants rejected. Memory corruption, emotional instability. Marked for erasure, Jocks's throat went dry. These weren't sisters. They were replacements. It's all made from Neri's DNA. He stepped back, shocked. She wasn't just a tool, he whispered. She was the blueprint. Just then, the door behind them slammed shut. Jocks' turn blaster raised. Sorexa stood there, alone. She wore a long black coat, silver lining, and her eyes gleamed like polished ice. "Impressive," she said, her voice smooth. "You found it." Niari moved in front of Jocks, weak but standing tall. Sorexa smiled, still protecting your little rescuer. That's cute. Jocks raised the weapon. Step back. Cyrexa didn't move. You can shoot me, but the room will seal. Oxygen will drop. Your ship will lock. And she die. Again, Nyari trembled. Jocks lowered the weapon just slightly. Why? Why all this? Cyrexa looked around the room. Do you know what it means to be royalty? It means you must live forever. Ideas live longer than bodies. Nyari's mind, her pattern was perfect. She was supposed to become the key to eternity, but she grew. Feelings. She looked directly at Nyari. She cried when we erased the first memory. That's when I knew she was broken. Nyari clenched her fists. Cyrexa walked closer. But it's not too late. Come back. I'll fix the pain. I'll make you clean again. Jock stepped in front of Nyari. She's not yours. Cyrix's smile faded. She will always be mine. Jocks pulled out the data chip from his jacket, the one with the lab files, the clone records, the full truth. If I send this to the Interplanetary Court, your name burns. Your title ends. Cyrex's eyes narrowed, lest you let her go. A long silence, then Cyrexa laughed. You think she can survive without me? She's one malfunction away from falling apart. I made her. Nyari stepped forward now. Her voice still gone but her eyes fierce. She reached behind her neck and pulled out a small, glowing wire. The core tether. The last connection to Cyrex's systems. She crushed it in her hand. The room's lights dimmed. The tanks powered down. The locked door behind them clicked open. Cyrexa gasped. No. Jocks aimed his blaster. Stay. Nyari turned her back to her sister and walked away. For the first time, she wasn't a project. She wasn't a mistake. She was free. The Rust Sparrow rose from the forgotten world in silence. Dust swirled behind its engines as it left the dark planet behind. Inside the ship, Jock sat quietly beside Nyari. She rested on the medical bed, her head turned toward the window. She hadn't spoken since they left the lab, not because she was afraid. Because she couldn't. Her voice was still gone. But her silence no longer felt like fear. It felt like choice. Jocks watched her. Her skin no longer flickered. Her glow was stable. Whatever connection Cyrexa had forced into her was broken now, completely. She can never control you again, he said softly. She'll answer for everything. I've already sent the data to the Outer System Court. There's no hiding it now. Nyari gave a small nod. Her golden eyes softened. They both knew Cyrexa wouldn't run. Royals didn't flee. But she had lost the one thing she couldn't clone: Nyari's will. Hours passed. The stars outside shifted as the ship moved toward safer space. Jocks returned to the cockpit, scanning for any royal signal or retaliation. But nothing came. Just peace. For once, he leaned back, closing his eyes, till he heard a soft knock behind him. He turned. Nyari stood in the doorway, wrapped in a fresh cloak. She held a small screen in her hand. On it, she had typed a single question. Do I belong to you now? Jocks froze. He stood up slowly and walked toward her. No, he said. You never did. She looked down at the floor. Her fingers trembled as she typed again. Then what am I now? Jocks didn't answer right away. Instead, he walked over to the console and pulled up the identity registry. It showed Subject N1, Genetic Class, Royal Tool, Status, Property. He tapped the screen and erased it. Nyari's eyes widened. Jocks opened a blank record. Let's write your real name, he said. Her hands hovered over the keyboard. For a long time, nothing, then, slowly. She typed, Hope. Jocks read the word. He smiled. It suits you. She smiled back, and for the first time, it didn't look sad or broken. Later, Jocks walked her through the ship. This button makes coffee, he said, tapping the side panel in the kitchen. which tastes terrible, by the way. And this corner, never press that switch. It dumps waste into space. You don't want to be standing near it. Hope giggled silently, covering her mouth. She was laughing. Even without sound, her joy filled the room. They moved to the cargo bay. She stared at the place where she had first awakened, where the chains once held her. It was empty now. She walked forward, bent down, and picked up a broken chain link. She held it for a moment, then dropped it over the edge of the ship's disposal chute. Gone forever. In the following days, they stopped at a neutral space station. Jox helped file her full protection request under the Human Alliance Treaty. It would take time, but soon, she'd have a real name in the system. A clean record. A future Hope spent time helping around the ship. She cooked simple meals. She adjusted the engine flow using her natural link to energy. And every night, she sat near the window watching the stars. Jox would sit nearby. He never asked questions. He never forced talk. He just stayed. Until one night. She tapped him on the shoulder and handed him a device. He placed it in his ear. A soft voice spoke. "Thank you." It was her voice. Soft, shaky, synthesisted. But hers, he turned to her. Hope smiled and said again, "Thank you. For not selling me." Jox felt something in his chest, heavy, warm. "I didn't save you," he replied. "You did that yourself." Hope looked at the stars. "They're beautiful," she whispered. He nodded. "They are." She turned back to him, her golden eyes calm now. "Do you think I can have a home?" Jox placed a hand on her shoulder. "You already do."